here, and after 2, Oklahoma with a 9.9175. Georgia with a 9.8925, and of course, SEC Freshman of the Year last season, Lily Smith, part of the scores here for Georgia. Let's get to know her.
My favorite song is Guilty Conscious by Tate McRae. My favorite movie is The Notebook. My favorite hobby is baking. My favorite TV show growing up was Zoe 101. My favorite vacation destination, Turks Caicos. One thing I can't live without is lip gloss.
Slightly jealous. I didn't know what Turks and Caicos was when I was in college, so quite the vacation spot there. But a good start here for Georgia. You see she'll get set to go here on balance beam in a few moments. 20th in Division I. Georgia's going to be relying on her to get a good score.
They are. They started off strong, and they're going to want to keep it going for these next 2 events.
We'll take another timeout, and then rotation number 3 here on the SEC Network. Second rotation, Oklahoma on ball.
Oklahoma had a great ball rotation. They had some room to improve, but they still didn't count a score lower than a 9-9, so an awesome rotation for the Sooners.
Meanwhile for Georgia, stuck landing after stuck landing on the bars, and that really gave Georgia a good score here in the second half rounds.
They did. They are keeping it tight there with some huge scores, rounding out the lineup with Lily Smith's 9.975. Incredible rotation for the Dogs.
Georgia will go to the balance beam here in the third rotation. Oklahoma will go to the floor. And after the first rotation, Georgia kind of keeping pace there. So many stuck landings, and it built. You saw a first good rotation, then a second. Everybody in the lineup performed and delivered.
They really did, and beam and floor have really been strong events for them. So starting off strong on those first 2 that haven't necessarily been as strong for them is a great start, and they're just going to want to continue to build that momentum.
9.8925 here. I think if you're Georgia, you're pretty pleased with where you're at here after 2. If you're Oklahoma, particularly on vault, you maybe feel like you left a little bit on the table.
You know, I would say they feel that way because they are capable of better vaults. However, their score was still a 49.625. You can't really be disappointed with that. Exactly. So while they could be better, that score, they're still going to be happy with it, and they're going to get a big score tonight.
And you only feel that way because you know, to your point, what they're capable of and what those average scores have been here this season. You know, I mean, they could hit 10s just about on every single one.
Exactly. You look at the career highs of all the athletes in the lineups, and they are incredible, if not perfection, very near perfection. And so that's what they expect when they come out on the floor. But I would say they're feeling in a very good place heading into this third rotation.
So we are set for the third rotation here. And Nia Howard will get things started for Georgia on the beam. I'm old enough that I didn't realize SpongeBob was still a popular show with the youngsters, but I guess so.
I agree. You've seen it in a couple of their get-to-know-yous.
Yeah.
And I can't say I really watched the show, but I appreciate their love for it, and good to know that it's still around.
Wasn't my cup of tea, but Nia Howard getting to work here for Georgia on the beam.
I was really looking to start this lineup off strong. So far, so good with that handspring layout step out.
Her best score of the season.
Beam has been a little bit of an iffy event for the Georgia Bulldogs in history, but this year, that's not the case. It's really been a solid event for them, and they do really build throughout their lineup.
Just a small wiggle there a moment ago.
Ready for the dismount. Got handspring gainer layout full. And again, another stuck landing. Hopefully those will stick throughout this lineup as well.
Good start there on that first rotation for Georgia.
What judges are looking for is just clean, no wobbles, of course, throughout the routine, and just the fact that the gymnasts are able to keep their momentum going through the routine, keep the flow of the routine, and make it look effortless. And then, of course, the stuck landings.
Here's Audrey Davis on floor for Oklahoma, 99.5 here on the season.
She's got a really fun routine, really showcases her personality, starting off the front double full.
Always the fun part of floor, you get to see personalization.
You definitely do, and it allows them to kind of show their personality and loosen up a little bit and have some fun with their teammates.
Her season and career high here on the floor. A 9-9 last week at home against Michigan.
They're really looking for those clean landings. That was great for her last pass. You'll notice that a lot of gymnasts now have 2 passes rather than 3, and that is allowed in college gymnastics. It definitely preserves your body and helps you to perfect the 2 passes that you have while maintaining the difficulty in those 2 passes, but then they add more difficulty in their dance as well.
Solid start on the floor here for Oklahoma as Audrey Davis gets it started.
Again, starting off with that E-level skill. Very clean landing. That'll be a great high score to start off the Sooners on floor.
Here's Georgia on beam and Brooke Lachowski.
Brooke has been in the lineup earlier on in the season. It's good to see her back in that second spot. The unique triple series with the hamstring layout. That added level of difficulty with that third skill.
She's been over 9-9 once this season and 9.875 in her last outing on the beam.
Switch half. So far she's been very... I want to finish strong with this dismount. Round off 1.5. Just a tiny hop. Coach Lanny saluting there with her. Another great routine.
Second pass here on the beam for Georgia.
Yeah, and as a freshman, you know, beam is not an easy event to compete, and she handled that really well. Great routine for Brooke Lachowski.
Expect a good score there for her. And Severs, the senior, goes second here on the floor for Oklahoma.
Talk about a personality. Coach Kindler said that Danny has one of the biggest personalities on the team, bringing that fiery, fun personality. You can see it in this routine with the Latin flair. Beautiful double pike to start off. Got a number of personalities on the team. The biggest being Danae and Danny and bringing that fun aspect, but then you've got Faith Torres, who's more of a calm personality. You've got Jordan Bowers, who's more of a serious, you know, more calm and collected. So it's a great mix of personalities to really balance out the team and to lead the team. It always helps with the team cohesion.
Always a mix of personalities there, and you can see all those on display here on the floor. This is just the 4th floor attempt here on the season. Season high 9.925 last time out against Michigan.
great second routine for the Sooners.
Big smile. I think they're going to get a really good score there.
She gets great height in this double pike. You can see the control that they have in their landings. Nice two-flip pass, ending with that double tuck, and again, very clean landings. Her feet did not move on that.
Back on beam here, Anya Turner for Georgia.
Anya is a beam specialist. And you'll see why. She's got very clean skills. She's got a calm presence up there. Can't swing layout, step out, layout, step out. Very solid. She's been solid this whole season. Her whole season last year as a freshman, she really showed her confidence and exuded her talents here on this event. Acro.
Scored her career high here this season, a 9.975.
When you're a specialist, you're expected to do your job, you know, on this one event, and she really has been able to do that week in and week out. Ending with the dismount, round off 1.5. Just a little bit short on that landing, but very clean. That'll be the biggest deduction, is that dismount. But again, another solid hit routine for the dogs.
Specialist delivers here for Georgia.
A little bit short, but great routine.
Oklahoma now on floor. L. Miller here, a 9.885 in QS on the season.
Starting off with a front through to a double tuck. As we get into postseason, the scores get so close. There's 4 to 6 judges on each event, so there's more than the 2 that are in the regular season. And so the scores just get that much tighter. You've got to be perfect. And so really honing in on these landings. Oklahoma's doing great so far with that, but that's something that's a huge focus going into these postseason meets.
First pass.
2-flip pass, again, flawless with that layout to Rudy.
Do you like the change to the 2 passes versus the third?
I think it just depends on the gymnast and depends on the routine, but I think it's definitely important if, you know, gymnastics is hard on the body and the floor exercise is really hard on the body, so if you're able to complete your routines cleanly with those 2 passes, I'm all for it. One of the challenges of collegiate gymnastics is keeping your body strong and maintaining your lineups throughout the season, week after week, and so any way that they're able to do that and stay healthy, that's a win. Interesting ending pose for Elle Miller, but a very clean routine. So far there have not been many deductions in this floor lineup. Another solid score for Oklahoma.
There's Lily Smith. She'll go 4th here on the beam for Georgia.
Lily's such a graceful gymnast. You can see it in her line, especially on beam. Beautiful front aerial into a back tuck. It's a different series, but she handled it beautifully.
Definitely looking to bounce back at 9.45 at LSU.
And you really just want to forget those moments and remember the good routines and trust your training and bounce back. So it looks like so far so good. Hopefully she can continue that and gain some confidence back on this event.
Scored a 9.95 on the apparatus this season.
Big balance check. When you break at the hips like that, it's a significant deduction. But she fought to stay on. Into her dismount, gain her layout full, and landing. So overall, a good routine. They're probably going to want to drop that score just with that big balance check, so hopefully they can continue to build throughout these next routines.
And credit the mental focus there. You know when that happens, you're about to get dinged pretty hard. But to finish strong, and that was a really good routine the rest of the way.
It was, and that's one of the hardest things is to bounce back and, you know, once you have that mistake, to be able to finish your routine strong, and she did that well. It shows her experience as a gymnast to be able to finish strong.
Addison Feta, the fourth up here for Oklahoma.
Feta, one of the freshmen that's in the all-around tonight, which says a lot, especially on Oklahoma's team with the talent that they have. To have a freshman break into the lineup on all 4 events is very impressive, and she and Lily Peterson have really contributed a ton to the lineups this year. Lily's capable of all-around as well. Coach Kindler has talked about their consistency as a freshman class and how impressive it is. They've only had 1 to 2 falls throughout this whole season, and that just says a lot with their mindset going into their routines and their confidence as gymnasts.
Of course, with the change to the 2 passes versus the 3, it allows for more artistic, you know, the dance portion of the personality here that you get in that floor routine.
Exactly.
Creativity really comes out.
Yes, and Oklahoma has some really unique routines. They stand out. Their choreography is very unique to each of them. And then when you have the big tumbling and clean landings on top of that, just the perfect combo. Building nicely in the lineup with these scores. They've started off with 9.875s and increasing to those 9.9s. They're going to want to keep building upon those throughout this lineup.
Second pass.
Up next is Kara Aker. She is a seasoned gymnast, especially on this event, a 2-time All-American on beam. In her time at Utah, this is her first year here at Georgia as a transfer. She's really contributed big on this event for the Bulldogs.
Scored a 9.925 twice this season.
With her experience at Utah, you know, she brings a lot of high-level competition experience with her time before college. She's a 2020 U.S. Olympic team alternate, 4-year member of the USA national team, and a 2-time world champion as a Team USA member. So she really brings that elite experience and the collegiate experience from Utah. So that's somebody you want on your team to have that, because there are a lot of new faces, a lot of freshmen, a lot of underclassmen that haven't necessarily seen those big competitions. And so to have somebody who has leading the team is a huge benefit.
Has a career perfect 10 on this event, so that's a really good option to have there in that 5 spot in the rotation.
Exactly, and you can see why with this routine. Into the dismounted cartwheel, gainer layout full. Beautiful. That's going to be a huge score for the Dogs.
Big score there by Kara Aker. And we go over to floor, and Jordan Bowers for Oklahoma. SEC Gymnast of the Week, a 3.9775 last week in the all-around, and the season leader on floor in Division I.
You can see the intensity already before she starts her routine. Does she bring the intensity, but she brings the big gymnastics along with it. And I asked how she is as a leader, and she says that, you know, she's not necessarily the most vocal leader, but she leads by example and she's very stoic. But when she does need to be vocal, she can be. And within the meet, she's more reserved, but that's partly because she's at the end of each of the lineups, and so she's really got to be in the zone throughout the lineups, whereas Audrey Davis is at the beginning of the lineup, so she can get her routine out of the way and then be loud and boisterous for the team. Jordan can be more of a quiet supporter at the end of those lineups and then contribute with her routines. As you can see, this is a huge routine so far for her.
As you mentioned, you stack it there. You want those good scores early so you continue to pressure those judges. So you've got the D1 score leader going 5th in the rotation. The top of the rotation got to perform.
They do, and it really is a lot of strategy that goes into the lineups. And Coach Kindler said the first routine is not the worst routine, and sometimes she reminds the judges of that so that they know, you know, typically the first routine is one of your better gymnasts to be able to start that lineup off strong and to continue that momentum through those next routines and then build with the best routines at the end as well.
Pass one there.
Huge height, huge difficulty, very clean throughout. Truly, there are not many deductions that Oklahoma's letting on floor.
And Jeffrey Scott will finish the beam here for Georgia, and there's the moonwalk on the beam of Georgia tradition, and got the pressure on here in that 6th spot.
She does. They have a solid lineup. They're definitely going to want to drop Lily Smith's 9.75 and get that overall beam score up just slightly. So hopefully Jeffrey can do that in this routine. She's got a lot of unique skills, starting with that front handspring into the handspring layout. She adds that level of difficulty that she doesn't have to add, but the fact that she can do it so cleanly is very impressive and good for the judges to see. She's locked in so far. Beautiful leap combo. Here in Athens.
Always gets the home crowd excited.
Especially when you can hit a routine like this. Front handspring, front pull this out. It's a tiny hop, but I think that's going to let them drop that 9.75 from Lily Smith.
Did exactly what she needed to do there, going 6th in the rotation.
Again, that famous moonwalk, it's been around for years, but never ceases to excite the Athens crowd.
The control there.
I mean, I can't even do that on the floor, so it's impressive.
So that will bring Faith Torres to the floor here for Oklahoma. And a really good, solid score here will put Oklahoma in great position to drop a 9.875.
Exactly. Oklahoma consistently drops high 9.8s, and when you're doing that, you're in a pretty good place. Faith is capable of a big score here on floor.
Has a 10 on her ledger here this season against Florida.
She has really shown improvements this year in the all-around, especially settling in on bars is where her biggest improvements have been, but you can see how she contributes to each event. She's very consistent, and she really brings that calming presence to the team. Coach Kindler says she doesn't really let much faze her, and that's somebody you want leading your team. If you have a mistake, you know she's able to bounce back and set that example for her team and continue the momentum if there is a mistake. But so far, so good in this floor team. No mistakes that I've seen.
Good finish to the floor here for Oklahoma and Faith Torres, and she's very excited with her performance there.
Definitely. Just continuing those twin landings, a huge double layout for that first pass. And great control on that landing. They've got the difficulty, but they also have the cleanliness to get those high scores. And a 49.55 probably will be higher with Faith Torres' score. Great rotation for the Sooners.
And Zora Morgan will go on exhibition here for Georgia.
Probably will be higher with Faith Torres' score. Great rotation for the Sooners.
And Zora Morgan will go on exhibition here for Georgia.
One of the things that Coach Robert said that has been a fun transition for Cecile Landy coming from elite gymnastics to college is that it's fun. Elite gymnastics is more individualized. This is obviously a team sport, and elite gymnastics is tough. You know, there's a lot of disappointments because very few gymnasts make it to the top, whereas in college there are so many things to celebrate. Every routine, week in and week out, it's just a lot of fun. And so you can see that even when she's supporting her team. After each routine, she's giving them huge hugs. It's just been a fun transition. And so it's been fun to see her salute with them and really embrace the collegiate atmosphere. Finishing off with a round off 1.5, a small hop, but a solid exhibition routine for Zora Morgan.
Oklahoma here on floor. Lily Peterson will go in exhibition competition here for the Sooners.
Says that although they have, you know, the all-arounders that they have struggled with injuries this year. Especially early on in the season, they had a lot of girls that were just watching the gymnastics and unable to train. And so this back half of the season, they've really been able to take advantage of these exhibition routines to be able to get that experience and increase their depth heading into the biggest meets of the year.
I beg your pardon, Kelsey Slade is on the floor here for Oklahoma. And you mentioned just building that depth. She's cracked the lineup once this season on bars against Arkansas. This is that time of year where you want people to be performing well and get that experience. To your point, you never know when an injury is going to happen. Somebody's got to step up, and you've got to count that score.
They do. And in their exhibition so far, she landed a little bit short on that last pass. She was able to save it and not count a fall. But getting that endurance up for those slow routines, that's part of this as well.
You get laid into the meet here. You're going third, fourth on the floor. You start getting tired.
You definitely do. But as I was saying, those exhibition routines, Coach Kindler was proud of those because they scored higher scores than the actual routines in the lineup. And that's exactly what you want to see for the exhibitions.
Anita Red Bull just watching it here. We are through 3 rotations. Georgia will be on floor here when we come back.